When I was younger, I had to know that I was smarter than average. I had to hear the wows of my parents that told me that I excelled in not only English and spelling, but math and science as well. I had to see the smile on the teacher's face that told me I was bright and full of potential. I had to hear all of the voices praising me. I had to feel the pat on my back, that atta girl that told me I was a good little girl for teacher. Then one day, in the 4th grade, I failed to turn in an assignment, so I was held after class in some sort of detention after school. I remember I stood there between the grid-like desks and the tables in the back of the room that had chairs sitting upside down on top of them, retired from their usual positions as seating places for little prisoners of academia like me. I remember looking at the teacher's face and saying that it portrayed no sympathy, no matter what I said. After all, I had failed, and I knew it. All of the colors around me intensified, and my surroundings vibrated. I had to do something. So I grabbed the nearest chair and threw it across the room. This event was largely ignored, so I swept it under the rug in my mind palace. Growth spurts require nourishment, so as I grew, I needed more praise. I still needed good grades, but I also needed to succeed in the realm of my passion, which was music. I needed to make every honor band, getting as far as All-State. I also needed to make Opus Honor Choir every single year that I was eligible. I needed 1+s on all of the solo contests, vocal and instrumental. I needed to get the outstanding soloist for my jazz trombone. I also wrote stories and poems and drew pictures, but I needed to be validated in all of those things. When no one was there to praise me and there was no contest to win, I felt empty and pointless. When no one was there from my school to tell me how good I was, I lacked the motivation to even sit down at the piano and practice. As a matter of fact, I even cried after my All-State audition, before the results were even posted, because I needed that score so badly. I think of it like this. I was a person-shaped black hole, dead set on sucking up all of the numbers and scores that I could, because judges and those numbers determined my worth as a person, and I was a void. Then one day in 2008, I was 14, a freshman in high school. I had just started school. It was November. I woke up on a Sunday morning with a migraine. Usually I just powered through headaches like this, but that morning it was so bad that I didn't even care that I was cantor for Mass. I asked my parents to stay home that day, and they begrudgingly let me. I was too enwrapped in pain to even care about finding a replacement cantor. So I retreated to my room. As soon as I had laid back down, I faced a jolting intuition to get up and get to the bathroom right away. So I stood up and made my way to the bedroom door. As I was reaching for the handle, I saw my face reflected in the mirror that hung on the door, and that image split into two, thus cueing my departure from reality and entry into a dream state. I stumbled out of my room, calling, "My eyes have double vision." I stumbled into the bathroom. My dad had to carry me out of the bathroom to the living room and set me in the rocking chair because I had fallen limply over the toilet, unable to get up by myself. As I lay there in the rocking chair, I explored how my dream body functioned. Spoilers, it didn't function. Not very well, at least. I saw my limbs there in the peripherals of my vision below my crossed eyes, but I couldn't move them. The air felt oddly stale, probably because I wasn't breathing as deeply as usual. I heard a roaring noise in my ears, and at the same time, also my father on the phone with the paramedics. But the roaring came at me from all directions. It was overwhelming. It was like that for a month, a comatose month, where pain and vital signs flirted with each other, each daring to determine a diagnosis. When I awoke from my coma, I was extubated. The ventricle pump in my skull was removed. I still have the hole. And I was jaded, too drugged up to really care about the life that still went on at high school. And after the hospital was not high school, to my groggy surprise. After you've had an AVM, an arteriovenous malformation, they don't just send you back to school. Who'da thunk? Not me, apparently. I went to a transitional care unit, and that fact didn't hurt. Nothing hurt for a while. It took a few events to properly tear at my heart. The one where I remember the pain so clearly was in therapy, occupational therapy. December still raged outside. I remember sitting in a gymnasium with frosty windows and the smell of overly sanitized exercise mats hung in the air. The occupational therapist tilted a huge pen, its circumference comparable to that of a bratwurst, at me, so holding my left hand. Just a month previously, I had used elegant writing utensils with names like Velocity or Atlantis or Jetstream. I had used them right-handedly, but now my right hand was out of commission. I fumbled with the bratwurst pen, and after I was done, I looked down, hesitantly, I admit. I saw faint and feeble dashes, and the images oscillated, like my vision does, because I have a condition called nystagmus. I remember I heard the sobs resounding in the gymnasium around me before I felt them, but they were the kind that begin in your stomach and roll up to your throat, causing immense pain. You know, you would think that waking up in a hospital after being in a coma for a month or feeling the hot pain sear up the scar on the back of your neck or being transferred to a transitional care unit because half of your body wasn't working would bring you to reality, but not me. It was in this giant, massive bratwurst pen moment that I truly realized that nothing would ever be the same. There were many times after that I felt the hot pain in my throat, telling me in my mind to sever all of my ties with what I knew because blood had severed my cranial nerves. So naturally, I had to separate myself with what I once was. I remember my picture hung on the wall at the transitional care unit, my school picture that was taken only a couple of months before the brain injury. And I would tell my friends and family, that's not me. I am not her. A lot has happened, though, since the transitional care unit in 2008, 2009. I graduated from high school as a scholar of music with the understanding of teachers, the amazing support of family, friends, and teachers, and the cooperation of my left hand, which was weaker, but it worked. College was cool, but not without difficulties presented by my mental health and disabilities. Before I had the brain injury, though, I had gleaned all of my self-worth from the approval of other people. Now, however, I could not achieve the same level of excellence that I once did, or at least in the same way I once did. Throughout high school and college, I spent years on a hunt for this excellence, but no matter how proud of me a professor said they were, or how hard somebody laughed at my joke, nothing was ever enough. I had to turn inward to find affirmation. And now I do. I find my own affirmation, and I live for what sets my soul ablaze, which is art. Music, writing, all of it. I think of my life like a game of poker. Before the injury, I had held a pair of pocket aces. The AVM stole those cards from me, or threw them on the ground, maybe, I'm not sure. But in high school and college, I spent years searching the ground for those discarded cards, and I picked up a few hands here and there, but none of them were good enough to me that I felt confident about them. To kill the poker metaphor, composing music is the hand that I've drawn several times and tried to throw it away because of how inadequate it feels. But at the end of the day, my heart breaks at the thought of not throwing all of my chips in the pot. I can't gamble on a life that I'm not living after all. Which, as much as I wish I could, I miss my old means of expression so much I can't articulate it. But here in this new life, I am living for what sets my soul ablaze. A teacher once told me that some people are chosen, and I disagree. I think that circumstances control people more than people control their circumstances. You can't find some finite thing that you are destined to be. But after fighting my circumstances, I've found peace and joy learning to live with them. And I no longer need affirmation or approval from other people. Through lots of meditation, therapy, art, I can find it within myself. Arguably, though, it may just be an obstinate disposition on life. But even if it is, that's mine. And no one can give it to me, and no one can take it away either. Thank you.